just wanted to welcome everyone who's on the webinar right now. And I just wanted to offer a little bit about, just very briefly, what we're going to cover today. When you registered, you were registered for 2 webinars. I know that was a little confusing for some of you. This one is mainly where Christine and I present the information that we have, and we're going to keep it to about 50 minutes. And we're going to give you the best information we have about how to deal with this pandemic virus. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about things that I understand about prevention and treatment if something were to occur. And Christine is going to be talking about her specialty, which is gut health, which is really key to immune health. I'm an MD. I was first licensed in Ohio in 1985, started out in internal medicine, then decided, based on some of the people that I had as mentors, that I went out to UCLA and trained in diagnostic and interventional radiology, worked in Northern California at El Camino Hospital for a few years, and then decided to leave the hospital-based practice and started a practice of integrative medicine, meaning I integrated all the other things I'd learned and I'm still learning with what I learned in medical school. And part of the goal was to really have a way to help people stay healthy, avoid disease, and if they did get challenged by some kind of a problem, help them deal with it without the use of a lot of pharmacology. I was at the top of my class in pharmacology when I was in medical school, and I saw with great understanding a lot of the harms that pharmacology could do. And medicine leads with sometimes the most dangerous therapies first, and I wanted to offer people a safer way. It turns out those things worked most of the time. So we're going to be talking about in that frame for the virus as well. I also want to say just up front, well, here, we'll try something here. I think there's a little poll that should have shown up on the right-hand side of your screen here. And I want you to, if you feel so moved, I want you to just respond to that. And basically the question is simple. What do you think the chances are that you're going to get the COVID-19 virus? Is it no chance, 25% chance, 50% chance, 75% chance, 100% chance? And you don't have to answer this, but I'm just curious where people are in their thinking about this. We're dealing here with a very infectious virus. We're dealing here with a virus for which there at this point is no prevention, no cure. And I'm not saying this to be in any way frightening. I'm just saying that's the reality. We've got a virus that nobody knows. Western medicine certainly doesn't have anything to offer. We do. We have something to offer you that will help you have a body that knows how to deal with the virus, because we're dealing with viruses all the time. Viruses are as old as human beings. They're a part of our terrain. They're a part of our community of bugs. We have more bugs in us than we do human cells, and viruses have been a part of that. Viruses are a part of our DNA. When they first sequenced the DNA in our cells for human beings, there was all this DNA that nobody could figure out, what's this for? What is this? What is this? And eventually they figured out, oh, that's viral DNA that's got incorporated into the human genome over the course of millennia. And nobody knows exactly what it does, but we've had a long relationship with viruses. We know our bodies know how to deal with viruses if they're in good shape and if they're healthy. So we're going to be talking basically about what the strategy is for you to be healthy so you can deal with this virus. Because, truth be told, the chances are pretty good that you're going to get it. Everybody's talking about, the vaccine, 18 months. It's just, it's hard. It's hard to make a vaccine against coronavirus. We've tried before. There was SARS in 2003. There was MERS in 2008. Coronavirus is the cause of a lot of common colds, different forms of it. We've never had a very good record of making a vaccine against a coronavirus, so I'm not holding my breath. But what I do know is that even just with the way things are working out, people are surviving this and doing a good job of surviving it just on their own. And with a little bit of help, people have an excellent chance of surviving it. So, there's a colleague of mine who is an anesthesiologist out in University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. They've been getting a lot of feedback from some work going on in Italy, where this was a problem before it was a big problem here. They're a few weeks ahead of us, that's all. But they've been looking carefully at the people who had severe disease or who died with coronavirus. And what they're finding is that almost all of them had some kind of an underlying health problem. They had hypertension, diabetes, obesity, smoking, too much alcohol, liver problems, kidney problems, and especially autoimmune problems. A lot of people with autoimmune disease. And so that was a predisposition to this. And I just say that because the things you can do to be healthy, all the things that we're not going to talk about today. We did send you that paper on diet that Christine wrote, but you need to be exercising, you need to not be smoking, don't drink too much, deal with mental health, deal with stress management, just do the basic things for your health. That's going to help you a lot. One thing that I do want to talk about specifically is a supplement, vitamin D. There is a paper, I think I can make that available. Well, certainly I'll include a link to it there's an email going out tomorrow with the link to the replay of this. I'll include a link to that vitamin D paper. And I think there's probably a way, yeah. We'll send the link to that out. But let's see, maybe I can get it here. Let's see, a new file. I'm not going to try and do that now. But in that paper, it's just, this is something that's been heavily studied in Western medicine, peer-reviewed journals. New England Journal of Medicine, very prestigious journals here and in the United Kingdom. And the
email it to me.
And what it shows is a couple of things. One, it shows that taking vitamin D dramatically increases your body's ability to deal with viruses. And when I say taking vitamin D, the other thing that the data shows is that the other epidemic we have in this country is vitamin D deficiency. And so people say, well, I take a 15-minute walk in the sun all the time. I go outside in the morning and that kind of thing. Most people are deficient in vitamin D. If you were standing outside without sunscreen, without hats, without clothing all day long, maybe you would make enough vitamin D. But especially where I live in Northern California, they've done some studies at different places at UCLA and at USC. They've shown that between October and May, the sun is so low in the sky that the ultraviolet rays needed to make vitamin D3 in a human being don't even reach the earth. So you need to be supplementing with vitamin D. And the supplements that they put in food, they don't work very well. That's vitamin D2. You need vitamin D3. Remember that, D3. And there's no magic about the dose. I recommend a dose that everybody goes, oh, that's too much. That's too much. It's not too much. The recommended dose from the New England Journal of Medicine, one of the most conservative journals in medicine in the country, says you should take 10,000 units of vitamin D3 a day to keep a blood level high, because it isn't guesswork. You get a blood level. And if you have trouble getting your doctor to give you a blood level, call me. I can get you one for $30, 27, I think, actually. Test your level. It needs to be at least 50 nanograms per milliliter. If it's lower than that, take more vitamin D. And remember that it's not linear. If you're at 25 nanograms per milliliter, which is way too low, and you want to be at 50, you may have to take 4 times as much vitamin D as you're taking now. So, it's an easy thing to measure, to test, and to really just be sane and rational about. So Christine, I think you showed up again here.
Yeah, I see that. I let's just leave it as is at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
It's going out now. Yeah.
Okay. So the take vitamin D. If you go to doseyourd3.com, we have some vitamin D for sale at a good price. Also, later I'm going to be talking about a kind of virus survival kit, some things that you want to have on hand and start right away if you feel like you've gotten sick with this virus or a bad flu. And that includes vitamin D, the vitamin D I recommend in it. So there are a couple of ways to easily get your hands on some good vitamin D. But when you're taking 10,000 a day or 70,000 a week, and if you're buying vitamin D at the local Walgreens and you're getting 1,000 international units in a pill, you don't want to have to take 70 pills a week. So this is 25,000 international units per pill. That's what just to make it easy. In addition, there is also a lot of scientific understanding as to why vitamin D helps. So everybody talks about, antiviral drugs. We haven't done any good with finding those. Everybody's talking about vaccines. Vaccines are hard. Just remember another RNA virus that we've never been able to figure out how to make a vaccine to is AIDS. I'm not holding my breath about the vaccine. What I am is trying to make everyone I know so healthy that if they do get this, because you are likely to get this, if they do get this, that it's just a mild disease. It's like you've got a bad cold for a while. You don't end up in the hospital. You don't end up in the intensive care unit. You don't end up on a ventilator. You just end up with, maybe a fever for a couple of days, and that's it. And so the vitamin D actually allows our body to produce antiviral substances in large amounts. Without vitamin D, we don't make them in very large amounts. And that's why vitamin D is so useful at protecting against viruses, because vitamin D supports the very parts of your body that know how to fight a virus. So everybody talks about, we don't know how to fight a virus. No, we live in a body that knows how to fight a virus. It's the most sophisticated, highly advanced viral fighting mechanism on Earth. It's your body. It knows how to do this. You just need to keep it in good shape so that when the time comes, if it has to fight a virus, it's prepared. It knows how to do it. It has all the tools that it needs. And so the vitamin D is the one thing. There are other things, people talk about other things, and acetylcysteine and all kinds of herbs and things like that. I don't want to say those aren't useful. I just want to try and keep it simple for you today. If the one thing you took was vitamin D on a regular basis and kept your blood level up, that would be enough. That would be sufficient. You would do quite well if you were to get infected with this virus. And just the final thing I'll say, the strategy that the whole world has taken to deal with this virus is to wait for somebody to make something to treat it, to make a vaccine, to make a drug. And that's just the way medicine works. Medicine is reactive. Medicine waits for you to get sick and then hopes it has on hand something to help you. In this case, along comes this virus. Medicine, Western medicine, allopathic medicine, has zero, the big zero, nada, nothing. The big bagel, zip, nothing to offer you, except to hope that you weather the storm on your own. And that's tantamount to criminal, because there are a lot of things that can be done to support health that would support you. And that's what you need to be doing. Whether you do what we say or you've got your own plan, I don't care. But don't be waiting around for somebody to invent a drug or a vaccine, because you'll be disappointed. And you may get sick, and you may get really sick when you don't need to. So that's enough. I realize I'm on kind of rant. I do that sometimes. I'm sorry. But so take your vitamin D, and then we'll talk at the end of this talk about the other things I want you to have on hand so that if you do get sick, you have extra tools to help deal with this. I'm not going to call it treatment, but there are things that you would take in the event that you got a bad virus like the flu or the COVID virus or any other bad virus. I don't get dengue fever or Eastern equine encephalitis or, all these things that, chikungunya, all these viruses. There are things you can do for them. We're talking today about mostly COVID and the flu because it's still the middle of flu season. But take your vitamin D, be healthy. And I'm going to turn it over to Christine now. So Christine is Master of Public Health, certified nutritionist. She's written some books. Her specialty is gut health, and not just healing your gut, but she understands better than anyone I know all of the things that can be off in the gut and all of the reasons why keeping your gut healthy is important to keeping your health at a high level. And she's in a tradition here that goes back. I mean, I have old books on my shelf over here about, health begins in the gut or disease begins in the gut. And, back to the 40s and 50s, people were writing about this. They understood this. They understood it well. And Christine is at the forefront of the kind of testing that can be done, not just to determine what kind of challenges there might be in your gut, but also what kind of things can be done personalized to your needs to make your gut healthy. So Christine, take it away.
Thank you very much, Damon. And I have a lot of good news for you. I would like to start with the fact that, as Damon was already indicating, we are not paying attention to in the media or in mainstream medicine around what can you do to strengthen your immune system using the best of functional medicine, using the best of customized protocols, and what happens with your digestion. So I'm going to start by saying, even Hippocrates said all disease begins in the gut. That's one of the reasons I got into it. I found that when we were addressing the gut, along with other factors, people regained their health. The microbiome, which is a term that means the trillions of organisms, including bacteria and viruses that live in our system and in our gut, but they're in every cell of our body. And it is a commensal interdependent relationship. We're inhabited by 100 trillion microorganisms, beneficial ones that we need to tend to, just like we're tending to our garden. Unfortunately, the modern society has industrialized food to the point where the nutrients have been lost, and therefore the soil that's needed to replenish our microbiome is gone today. So, I'm recommending making your own garden, buying at the farmer's market, buying only organic, because Roundup, glyphosate, which is now used on all conventional foods, unfortunately does a lot to damage the microbiome. It actually causes intestinal permeability, makes your gut much more vulnerable to COVID if you have leaky gut, which I'm going to address a little bit more in detail in just a moment. So we have 150 times as many organisms as we have genes in our gut. Most important thing to focus today is that it regulates your immune system. It modulates your digestion. Most of Americans are malnourished and have maldigestion because of the permeability in the population is so high. What raises our permeability? The permeability is significantly raised by the toxins in the environment that we're exposed to, Roundup, the toxins that food is sprayed with, and produce chemicals have increased, exorbitantly. The curve goes way up. In the last 5 to 10 years, we're exposed to GMOs, Roundup, glyphosates at an unprecedented rate. All of this alters our body's ability to regulate our immune system through the gut microbiome, because our gut bacteria modulates digestion, absorption, elimination, and most importantly, it makes anti-inflammatory factors. So this is a real key. What's going on now is we have way too much toxins. We also have too many meds. All medication, even over the counter, surprisingly does damage and kill off some of the good bacteria in your gut, as well as how you're eating. If you have taken many antibiotics and all drugs affect permeability. So it's very important after you take antibiotics to make sure that you're healing your gut membranes with particular foods and also customized supplements to heal your membranes and then be able to absorb your food. We also have an epidemic of white flour, white sugar in our diet. And studies have shown that if you ingest a tablespoon of sugar in whatever form, whether it's honey, molasses, any kind of product that you eat, that the research showed the immune system is reduced by 50% within 24 hours. So it's critical during this COVID time and to prevent infection to eat at the kind of nutrition plan that you receive in your handout, whole foods, plant-based foods, eliminate all processed foods, and most importantly, have fruit instead of refined sugar, eliminate refined sugar. The other part that's so important is that your microbiome, the right gut bacteria, actually helps to protect you against pathogens that are around you. It helps you make those anti-inflammatory factors and helps you upregulate inflammation and balance your immune system. There's a great study that just came out that probiotics defend against viral infections of the respiratory tract. I hear a lot of background noise. If someone would please mute themselves, if you would be so kind, there's a button to mute yourself on your dashboard because we hear a lot of background noise. Thank you. So there's a strong correlation, which is very exciting, that I actually teach. And we're working on a course right now for people, for different practitioners, about the strong connection between gut flora protection of respiratory tract. They have shown that when you take the appropriate customized probiotic, and I mean customized because if you just go out and buy any kind of probiotic at the health food store, first of all, it's not going to contain what it says on the label. A lot of the bottles have not been independently tested to make sure they contain what you need to take. But secondly, just randomly throwing probiotics can actually be harmful because you might have too much of one and too little of the other. So the key is the functional gut testing, which shows you your unique microbiome fingerprint, which is like your customized fingerprint, and the test actually shows you which bacteria you're low on, which are good, and which ones are bad, how much yeast you have, how much overgrowth. So they found that by taking the right probiotics, that respiratory infection was reduced by 50 to 75%, that when people took the strains during at 4 to 8 weeks, and then they had a control group, this is a very solid study, they actually found that people did not get the flu, 75%, and of the ones that got it, the severity was reduced significantly by 90% severity reduced. And as all of you know, we need to be very careful now if you've been on drugs or antibiotics because they breed even more infections and all the superbugs that are out there. You can listen to the video on my website that I have on my homepage that talks about all of this. On my page, I also show all the research of how these different research on microbiome affects every single disease that could be happening in your body. So I just want to give you some very encouraging information now. Besides probiotics really affecting the body, in your body, what's most important is to avoid and heal leaky gut. There's a lot of data that has shown that leaky gut permeability affects your health significantly, especially the outcome with COVID-19, because you will have much higher inflammation in your body, and permeable membranes will be what happens with leaky gut is that the tight junction of the intestine become permeable, and it allows viruses, bacteria, pathogens to seep like through a sieve, which is normally closed in healthy people. It seeps into your body, into the bloodstream, causing an antigenic autoimmune response. So patients with Crohn's disease, Hashimoto's, MS disease, everyone that has autoimmune has some form of history or currently has leaky gut. So what happens with COVID-19, of course, is that when you have inflammation in your body, all the data shows the higher your inflammation, the more likely you're going to have a poor outcome with COVID-19. So the permeable membranes, the tight junctions, need to be kept tight, not allowing this inflammation to get raised in your body. I just got kicked out. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure what happened. I have to turn it on again. Okay. Are you there, Damon? Because it's only 12:25 and
no, we're fine.
Okay, all right, we're fine. Sorry about that. I hope everybody's, yeah. Okay, so the next piece of great news that I want to tell you about, there's a new study that came out, which is that respiratory failure, as you all know, it's very serious, is the leading cause of death due to the infection from COVID, which means that the capillaries in the lungs fail to exchange O2 and CO2 in the alveoli in the lungs. What happens is, remember the gut-brain connection, how our gut is connected to our brain? And again, on my website, digestive-health.center, one word, digestive-health.center, you can see a video that talks about how the gut-brain works and all the things to do about it. What's very, very exciting is that just like the gut-brain and the gut-liver, and the gut is connected to every organ, the gut and the lungs bring essential things from the environment into the body. The lungs oxygen, the gut nutrients and water. Bad bacteria from the gut can find their way into the lungs. And what happens then is that in the gut, the short chain fatty acids, which to make it simple is how you ferment your fiber. And that is shown on the test, the SCFAs, produced in the gut. They act as signaling molecules on resident antigen producing cells to mediate inflammatory response. And so what the great news is, the test will tell you how much butyrate you have, how much short chain fatty acid. This is going to be the one or many factors in your gut that will decrease your airway hyperreactivity and inhibit the inflammatory cells. So it will inhibit inflammation in your lungs if you get the virus. The innate lymphoid cells that are involved in tissue repair have been shown to be recruited from the gut to the lungs from inflammatory signals. So you want to make sure that you have enough anti-inflammation factors through butyrate, short chains, and the general profile of your gut in order to get the best results with COVID-19. So the health of your lungs is directly linked to the health of the microbiome. What you eat and how you digest it, how you ferment your fibers is directly related to the outcome of COVID-19. The research shows that when you have bad bacteria in your gut, which the test I'm offering you will show, at that time, the bad bacteria can migrate to the lungs and cause an acceleration of this respiratory syndrome. So it's absolutely critical at this point to look at the good news, which is as you have a strong immune system in your gut, the test that I'm suggesting today measures your secretory IgA, which is your first line of defense inside the GI mucosa. It's called SIG-A. I'm offering you a special test, which I will do at the end. Very cost effective. You'll know what the level of your immune system is. Also, you can do a comprehensive test to see your short chains, your butyrate. You can see exactly what's going on with your microbiome, mediate inflammation with the right dietary plan, focus on the foods that really nourish your body to vitality, and make sure you absorb those foods by having an intact lining, and that you're eating only organic, that you're giving yourself the prebiotics, which we talk about. Very important, you have a soil to nourish, like when you grow a plant, the plant has to have the right soil to thrive. In this case, the test will also show you a prebiotics necessary, like sauerkraut, cultured yogurt, kefir, kimchi, many other things that are going to be very, very powerful for you to nourish your immune system. So I will work with you and announce that in the end. I'm offering a very special offer of a gut test with consultation to help you nourish your soil, your gut, your prebiotics, your microbiome, flora, reduce the bad bacteria, eliminate the pathogenic, raise your butyrate and the things you need to defend so that your lungs can have a very strong capacity in a way to resist viruses. Make sure you have the right strains. Again, like Dr. Damon Miller was saying, everything is unique. The gut microbiome, you have your own fingerprint, your signature. So we will work with signature probiotics that are specific for you. And right guess when you can test your biome and then work on the right foods. So again, decrease any inflammation and customize everything. And I will be talking with you about my special offer right after Damon does this next part. Thank you very much. Go take it forward, Damon.
Okay. Hi. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. I just unmuted. So I'm going to put up here on the right, I think this will show up. Yeah, there's two offers here. There's this, and let's see, there's another. Well, I'll leave this up here for now. There is another screen like this. And the link to this will be in one of the follow-up emails that you're going to get that also has the link to the recording. But basically, this is the virus survival kit, which we're offering at a reduced price now. And I think it's about 20% off what it is to buy the things individually. But I think of treating a virus. If you have a virus and you're going to treat it, so the only thing in this mix of things that you would want to take on a regular basis is the vitamin D3. And we've gotten a couple of questions. Let me just say briefly. And again, questions we're going to be answering next week. We'll take the questions that you've asked on the chat here today, the questions that you can email to either one of us, or questions that you bring live to our thing next week, and that will also be recorded. And basically, just to keep this at a reasonable time, that we don't exceed people's attention span. So that's why we're not taking questions today. But we will have a question and answer session next week. Christine will remind you of that before we're done. But just to address one thing about the vitamin D that's come up from a couple of people are very concerned about vitamin D, and that's because physicians fret about how much vitamin D you take, because physicians normally don't understand the difference between vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. Physicians generally prescribe vitamin D2, which makes no sense to me, because vitamin D2 can be toxic. And vitamin D2 isn't even the active form. Your body has to activate it. Vitamin D3, I typed this into the chat and I will speak it here. Whenever I talk to doctors about this and I get this feedback from doctors, oh, that's too much D3 you're recommending, I say, well, it's what they recommend in the New England Journal. This isn't something I'm making up. If you're worried about it, get a test, because it's easy to prove that it's not too much. But the thing I offer when I talk with groups of doctors is, look, you bring me a single one documented case of somebody being made seriously ill or ill at all taking vitamin D3 at the levels of dosing I'm recommending. You bring me one case, I've got 2 crisp $100 bills that I'll send you. And I'm making this offer to all of you on this too. You bring me a documented case of somebody made toxic by D3, and I will give you the $200 bills. And I will also give you a sheaf this tall of literature that proves the value of D3 in preventing cancer, preventing heart disease, preventing viral illness, generally keeping us healthy, and documenting the fact that we have an epidemic of D3 deficiency in this country and the world, but especially at the more northern latitudes like we are here. So anyhow, that's about D3. There was a couple of questions about vitamin K. If your gut is healthy, the way that Christine is going to make it healthy, you make your own vitamin K too. You don't need to take K2. K2 dramatically increases the cost of the supplements, but there are, again, things we can do to determine if you need vitamin K. But for the most part, just keep it cheap, keep it simple, take vitamin D3 in an adequate amount to keep your blood level up. You're cool. You'll be good. The other things that are in this kit, vitamin A, there's a little picture of that here. It's a micellized form of vitamin A. Again, I'm recommending big doses that would make a lot of doctors blanch and worry, but this is micellized, meaning it's partially water soluble, meaning you cannot take too much of it because you want big doses of this. Vitamin A supports mucosal immunity. Your mucosa is how this virus gets into your body. Your mucosa is what lines your gut. Vitamin A in large amounts can just stop a cold or a flu or a viral infection dead in its tracks. So you want to take vitamin A when you get sick. And then if you actually feel like you've got a viral infection, usually we use something called Tacuna. That's one of these products from Nutramedix, and you've got to use the Nutramedix products. They're the only ones that are worth anything. So the Tacuna from Nutramedix, and then we also include now the Barberry, because Barberry affects the lungs more than the Tacuna, and this is a virus that affects the lungs. So you would start dosing the Tacuna, the Barberry, the vitamin A, and then the Noni, the other part of the virus survival kit, the virus emergency kit, is something that boosts and regulates your natural immunity. We have chosen Noni. This is a wild crafted Noni that's freeze-dried in the fields from American Nutraceuticals. People use other things. They use elderberry. They use sambuca. They use mixes of herbs. I'm not going to say Noni is the only thing that works. This is what we found to work really well. It's affordable. This is what we include in the virus emergency kit. So, here's the link. You can go. You can get it now. You can buy it after the webinar in the link that's in the emails. You can go to bettereyehealth.com and our Better Eye Health store, bettereyehealthstore.com. That has all of our products. You can find it there, Better Eye Health Store. But have something or something like this on hand, because if you get sick with this, it comes on quickly. A lot of people get it and they don't get sick at all, but if you're going to get sick with this, it comes on sick quickly. In other words, you feel like, oh, I'm getting something, and 3 hours later you're really sick. So you can't go to the computer and order something from Amazon. You can't drive down to CVS because you're not going to find any stuff here. And you need to have it, in your house on hand, ready to take at a moment's notice. And that's when these things really work and work well. So I'm going to take this down now. That's the virus survival kit. It's 5 items. I just encourage you to, like I say, have this or something as good or better on hand. And now I'm going to go back to Christine. She's just going to, and let me do something here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So this, again, there's an active link right here. You click on that blue button, click here to arrange a gut test. That'll take you to Christina's page where she's got a couple of options, and I'll let her describe those here. I'm just going to go off video here while you talk, Christina.
Thank you.
And Christina, I'm going to, after I go off video, I'm going to reduce your video and just put our contact information up.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, so as Dr. Miller was saying, it's essential, to have things on hand to prevent. The most important preventative for your lungs and how you're going to be basically reacting to all of this has to do with the gut testing. And one of the things that I'm offering for you is a very special COVID-19 special offer, which has to do with, if you're interested, there are 2 offers. And you do need to contact me within 48 hours in order to take advantage of this special COVID offer. I have reduced the pricing significantly to serve everyone at this critical time. So to test your gut immunity and do only the secretary eye test, and a 30-minute consult is $197. Normally, this type of testing would be $497. The second great offer is your comprehensive digestive analysis, which is both of these are safe tests you do in your home. I ship you the kit to your house and FedEx picks it up from your house. You never leave your house. We do the consultation by Skype, Zoom, or phone, whatever works for you. The next one is a comprehensive analysis of your whole microbiome, all factors including bacterial overgrowth, digestion, absorption, elimination, secretory IgAs included, gut immunology, and all of the things except parasitology, which you're able to do separately, and we'll talk about that before the consultation. That one is $397 now, which is normally $997. So these are 2 offers. You need to contact me either by going to digestivehealth.center, as you see there, and you can click on test special offer and purchase either the secretary IgA test for the 30-minute consult for $197 or the comprehensive test of your whole microbiome with the 30-minute consults for $397 in the next 48 hours. Or you can also contact me at the phone number 650-856-3151. If you're not sure of what test to do, or if you want to just do a consultation with me, you can email me at the email that's up right now, rosche.c@gmail.com, or which is C like cat, rosche.c@gmail.com, or you can call me at 650-856-3151. And again, both of these tests are significant in helping you reduce your inflammation in your lungs. I will teach you what to eat at this critical time to make you much less susceptible to any virus, have more resilience, and then the testing will help you repair your gut at a level so that you have resilience in your lungs, in your whole immune system, in your whole body. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Take it away, Damon.
Okay, hold on. Okay, that's all we're going to do today. You've got our contact information. You know that we have Q&A coming. And also, if you're having questions, you're saying, gee, I had this autoimmune problem. I've had diabetes that isn't well treated, heart disease. I mean, those are the things we do in our clinic here, is we help you really not just take drugs to cover the symptoms of things, but really go to the root of the problem, make you better, make you whole, make you healed. And so call me if you need help with that. The offers that Christine is offering, gut health testing can be quite expensive, and this is really generous of her to be doing not just the discounted price for the testing, but the time that she spends with you is huge. Not just at this beginning, but I know from people that she's worked with that she checks in regularly and just really keeps on top of things to make sure that the work she's doing with you works. So next week, May 6th, noon, Wednesday, we're going to be doing questions and answers, like I said. If you can't be there, email one of us your questions, and we'll include them, try and do the best we can to include them so they're in the recovery. Next week is just a free-for-all. Whatever questions you have about immunity, about health, and about avoiding this virus are fair game. Bring them on. And like I say, also, if you did enter questions into the chat, we're not answering them there today, but they will be answered and in the recording next week. So, thank you. Thank you all for coming. It was a great turnout today. It looks like there were about 80 of you here at one point, and that's huge. And if people want to come to the Q&A who weren't registered for this, sure, have them contact us. We'll figure out a way to give them access to that. We just want you to have information because we're all kind of in this together, and we just need to really be prepared to be as healthy as possible so we all make it through. Thank you all. Thank you, Christine. Thank you. And
Dan. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.